Hello, Miami. This is 305 Sports Now, your home podcast and channel for all things Miami sports related. I am Will, and first things foremost, I want to say Merry Christmas to all of you over in 305 or wherever you're listening to this podcast episode. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful time or had a wonderful time with your loved ones, family, etc. And pretty much, as a Dolphin fan, I am very saddened. I'm very disappointed in today's game as the Dolphins once again fall 26-20 to the Green Bay Packers and lose their fourth game in a row, and more and daily and weekly continue to hurt their chances in making the playoffs. It has been a very tumultuous second half to the season, I would say, for the Fins and for Fins fans ourselves, as we felt like this team was moving forward, especially after the return of Tua Tagovailoa, the great play on offense. But ever since that 49er game, this team has not been the same. Now, mind you, against the Buffalo Bills, they should have won that football game. Defense should have been able to hold out. The Dolphins did enough to win offensively against Buffalo. Tua was, pretty much Tua was solid against Buffalo. Had a couple drops in the game, a couple calls didn't go their way by the officials. But this Packer game, I totally put the blame on the offense. The Dolphins had 4 turnovers in the game. The Packers scored 16 unanswered points. At some point in the game, late in the second quarter, the Dolphins were up 20-10 by 10, about to go into halftime, marching to score. Raheem Mostert fumbles nearly midfield. The Packers recover. They're able to get a field goal out of it, and they make it a 2013 game. And then, after the half, it becomes much more difficult. Tua, every game, it seems like people argue was the worst game of the season. This had to be the worst game of the season for Tua Tagovailoa. 16 of 25, 310 yards passing, 1 touchdown, a beautiful pass, right, on a crosser to Jalen Waddle, that went for 84 yards. But after that, Tua had a solid first half, all right? He really did have a solid first half. And he had a beautiful ball that he threw to Tyreek Hill that was for 52 yards that Jeff Wilson was able to punch into the end zone. But after that, it was bad. Right? It was bad. And in the last few possessions of the Dolphins, 3 straight times Tua held the football, 3 straight interceptions. And those are interceptions that could have been avoided. I'll get more into that after I go over the statistics for the team. Jalen Waddle had another magnificent game. 5 catches, 143, 1 touchdown, a long of 84 yards. Hill, another excellent game. 4 catches, 103 yards receiving. No touchdowns, but a huge 52-yard bomb that he caught on a post pattern that ended up becoming a Dolphin touchdown. Kader who gets an interception off of Aaron Rodgers, but then Tua, throws another interception and gives I think the Packers got 3 points out of that one. Rodgers goes 24 of 38 for 238, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Rodgers wasn't very good, in the game. He was okay, but not. He did, however, show that he does have some elusiveness as he was able to get out of a few sacks. Rodgers had been sacked about 5 times, right, in this game. At least 5 times. He went down for 2, right? And Landon Roberts, I think, had the best sack of Rodgers in the game when he just basically busted through the seam and was able to, to attack the many-time Pro Bowler. Takeaways in the game, not defense's fault. All right, I will say that. Although on many occasions you had a bend but don't break type of deal with the defense. The defense gave up 26 points. Yes, they did, but they were also put in precarious positions. As many of the turnovers that occurred in this game put the Dolphins in very difficult field position. All right, so that is something that did occur during the game. Those turnovers should never have happened. Mostert should have held on to the ball, but of course those strips happen. Tua's interceptions were just bad. Okay, and one of them he floated over the head of the receiver, got picked off. Another one, a bit of a miscommunication between him and Mostert, as well. Mostert didn't turn around. Tua throws into a spot, but I will put that on Tua because you could tell. I mean, obviously, in real time, I'm not in Tua's position, but the bottom line is that you saw the defender there. The receiver doesn't turn around. I know the McDaniel offense about timing and throwing to a spot more so than, throwing a guy open or finding the open man in particular. But that's a bad pass by Tua. Okay, a veteran quarterback that is elite does not make that mistake. All right. And the last interception is just terrible. It was pretty much the game sealer for that team. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is uh Tua needs to be smarter. Okay, Tua, if you're gonna play with the big boys, if you're going to take your guide your team into the playoffs, if you really are going to be the franchise quarterback, you need to make better decisions with the football. Tua had 4 interceptions. I'm sorry, 5 interceptions coming into the game. He threw 3 picks the final 3 possessions. And the sad part is, it was, except for one of them, it was when the Dolphins were in good position to drive. All right, the Miami Dolphins could have easily put points on the board if Tua does not turn the ball over. The Miami Dolphins have 2 games left. All right, against very winnable opponents. The Patriots are struggling offensively. All right, with Mac Jones at the helm, and the Jets are just in disarray. Okay, you play the Patriots on the road. That doesn't mean the Dolphins can't win. The Dolphins have proven by the Buffalo game that they could play on cold weather. This is where defense has got to step up, because the defense has been terrible on the road. This home game, they were not great, but they weren't horrible. Okay, they did their best. Okay, and they held their own. And again, the offense off of turnovers put them in positions where the Packers had the opportunity to score. Okay. Then the Jets, you have the Jets, the final season game, a home season game at home, and that could be a playoff opportunity, make or break season for the Finns. The Dolphins have got to take care of business these last 2 games. You got to come in with a 10-win season. 10 wins more than likely gets you into the playoffs, and that's a good opportunity for the Dolphins, as other teams have kept losing, including both teams in the division. The Dolphins have an opportunity to still make the playoffs. The Dolphins have got to win these games. All right, they've got to beat the Patriots. Their offense right now, New England does still have a good defense, but the offense is in disarray. All right, they probably are wondering what they have in Mac Jones. Matt Patricia is not an offensive mind at all. The Dolphins have got to take advantage of that. Okay, and then of course Zach Wilson or Mike White, whatever the case may be, the Dolphins have got to beat the Jets at home, because the Jets offense sucks. They have good receivers. All right, they have good receivers, but the bottom line is that the Jets offense sucks. Defense is still pretty solid, okay, with guys like, like Sauce and stuff like that, and the Marcus Joyner, but they have got to win these games. They have to. All right. Mike McDaniel did not call a bad game today. The offense did not execute, especially in key moments. They were shut out in the second half, and they should not have been, because the times that they turned over the football, even before the end of the first half, the Dolphins were driving. All right, the Packers defense was giving up yards to the Finns, especially through the air. All right, Tua ended with a 300+ yard game, and he was in the high 2s going into halftime. All right, the Dolphin offense has got to, pretty much lead. The defense has got to play better on the road. Tua cannot make these mistakes. This is big boy time. All right, this is big boy time, and if Tua wants to prove that he is the franchise for this ball club, he has got to cash in and win these kinds of games. Okay? Buffalo was not his fault at all. Tua did everything possible to win that football game. Bad calls by the referees, drops by Sherfield and Tyreek Hill, all in the past. Not his fault. Okay? But this game in particular was a very winnable game. You're at home. It's Christmas Day. The stadium was packed. And Tua pretty much wet the bed. Okay? He laid an egg. He was just terrible. Second half, he was just terrible. 4 turnovers. 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions. Okay? Cost the Dolphins. It cost the Dolphins, okay? So the bottom line is that cannot happen. You got 2 games. New Year's Day and on the 8th. Patriots, disarray on offense. You need to win that football game. You've already proven you can play in cold weather. All right? When you went up to Buffalo and almost beat them. All right? You should have beat them too. You should have beaten the Packers. You got to beat the Patriots. And you got to beat the Jets. All right? If not, what did you accomplish in getting all these weapons for Tua Tagovailoa to end up with the same record they had when Flores was the head coach? The Miami Dolphins have got to produce and put a complete game together, like they did against the Browns, right? And most of the game against the Houston Texans. The Dolphins have got to play complete football. The defense has to play with the same intensity they do when they're at home. All right. They averaged 15 points before today's game. They're averaging only giving up 15 points a game at home, but averaging 32 on the road. That is unacceptable. That is not a playoff team. Playoff teams play well both on the road and at home. Dolphins have got to do that. Right? If the Dolphins could do that in these next 2 games, they will sail into the playoffs. Sail. All right. But if they don't, they'll be in a dogfight for the rest of the season. And the way they're playing right now in December, I don't see the ball balancing the Dolphins' way if they don't get their act together. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hope you like what you heard. Again, Merry Christmas. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to 305 Sports Now. Once again, I am Will, and stay tuned for tomorrow as a special guest on the show will be Alex Dono. He's coming in. Alex Dono of Locked On Canes and WQEM fame. All right, he's coming on. We'll be discussing National Signing Day, the early signing day period, and pretty much our favorite guys, as far as for the Miami Hurricane recruiting class. All right, everybody stay safe. God bless. See you soon. Once again, Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.